What's up, YouTube? Robert the Monster Among Marks Drap here. Back again for 2019, the brand new year. And we're maybe starting this year off on a good foot, but also a bad foot. Allow me to explain while I say, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Please go on ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share all those wonderful things down below. Hit the bell for the notifications. Follow the show on Twitter at InMoshPit. Yours truly is at Rob's Random Robs. My good friend, the heavy metal hippie, who is currently in a pocket dimension of goodness knows where. She will be joining us on future shows. She is at Heavy Metal Hippie. And let's go on ahead and get into this show, because on the one hand, I do feel like this was a very good show. Like this was had hit some very positive notes in what it did, but on other parts, it was just like, what the hell are you even doing, WWE? Why are you even bothering with this? What is the point? What is the deal? Why are you on what you're on? Stop your insanity. I want to get off the ride. We start the show with a very shaky cam vision of Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley brawling backstage. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit, I love Seth Rollins. I'm a big Seth Rollins fan. A lot of the stuff that he's been doing very lately has been, much to my enjoyment, very genuine, feeling very natural. But this one kind of didn't. I want to even point out, we got to see Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was on Raw. It was like 2 seconds, but he was on Raw, so it counts. And we also got to see who was it? Heath Slater. We got to see Heath Slater in his ring gear, so bonuses there. The brawl eventually spills out onto the causeway. The whole locker room comes out to break up the brawl. This then, after it gets relegated to the back, this brings out John Cena, who starts the show proper by welcoming us to Monday Night Raw and saying that he's back on Raw and that he's officially entering the Royal Rumble. Now, here's the thing about John Cena. I love John Cena. I do. I don't know. I mean, the mythical 17th title win to break Ric Flair's record. I think that time is come and gone. I think that if they were going to give it to him, he should have been a transitional champion. He should have been the one to, step in, take away, and then turn around and give back to somebody else, so that way he could have that 17th title win. And personally, if I had to book it, he'd beat Brock Lesnar. They can work together. They've worked together in the past. Brock's a little better than he was back when he faced John Cena, and I want to see it. It's a matchup we haven't seen in quite a while, and to see John Cena conquer the Beast is not something that we haven't seen before, so it can be done and be done believably. During his promo, he is interrupted by Drew McIntyre, who actually brings up the fact that John Cena was named by Vince McMahon as the greatest of all time, the greatest in the business. Cena's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're out here to run your mouth just like everybody else does. What's the difference between you and 99% of the other guys that are back there that have come out here to cut the same promo on me? Hell, that's why I had to leave, so you guys would get new material. And McIntyre's like, oh, you want to know the difference between me and them? They'll talk. I'm ready to show you. So He's about to get in the ring. They are interrupted by Lio Rush, who comes out and demands somebody come and get Seth Rollins in hand, which was fucking stupid. This is not what that's about, so why the fuck are you bothering us with this now? He demands that they cancel the show, and he's going to get lawyers. It's like, what the hell are you even talking about getting lawyers? Stop it. Go away. You are useless. And he is blindsided by... Bobby Lashley is then blindsided by Seth Rollins, who, they scuffle on the ramp a bit before, I believe it's Dean Ambrose comes out of nowhere to assist Bobby Lashley. John Cena, being the upstanding face he is, comes down there to level the playing field. Drew McIntyre's not having any of this, so he joins in the fray. And finally, we get Finn Balor. Finn Balor eventually ends up in the ring after giving Drew McIntyre a sling blade, knocking him over the top rope, and then doing a top rope suicida. Tope con suicida. Just, he's got a beautiful... The way he does it is beautiful. This cuts to commercial, and then we come back, and we get a 6-man tag to start the show. Personally, this is the first episode of Raw that I've watched. I did not watch the Christmas episode. I was not going to give that any of my energy. I didn't watch the SmackDown Christmas episode either, so I might be a little behind. But the fact of the matter is, doing it this way, hitting the reset button in this fashion is good. I love that. Let's keep that going, please. I mean, if we get a wonderful little routine going of, hey, we're gonna get a match to lead off the show, or we're gonna get a fight, or we're gonna get something other than a promo. Perfect. Let's do this. This match actually wasn't too bad. I mean, I thought that John Cena tagging Finn Balor instead of Seth Rollins to save... I mean, you could kind of see the writing on the wall in that sense, where it was a lot of face in peril. Seth Rollins eventually tags in with Dean Ambrose being the legal man. Hits the super kick, hits the stomp, pins Dean Ambrose for the 1-2-3. This went about 20 minutes, and it was not something that I hated. Basically, commentary the whole time is talking about how Rollins has been demanding that he get another chance at the IC title, and how Triple H is basically telling him that he wants to see the Kingslayer. He wants to see Monday Night Rollins return before he'll give it to him, before he'll do anything like that. It is then shown on the Titantron, Triple H talking to Sasha and Bayley backstage, just chatting, having a cup of coffee or whatever, just, back and forth with those two ladies, laughing it up. Rollins is incensed by this. He rolls out of the ring, storms up the ramp right after Dean Ambrose, actually. You could still see Ambrose, trying to sell it, trying to sell the match's rigors. But he storms up the ramp, leaving John Cena and Finn Balor to, stand in the ring, arms raised, and stand at the top of the ramp, celebrating. Rollins just stalks right up to Triple H, slaps the cup of coffee out of his hand, and demands a match with Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship tonight. He is granted a Falls Count Anywhere match. And Triple H is like, good to see you back. Slaps him on the chest. Next up, we have a tag team title lumberjack match. Why? Why do we need a lumberjack? Okay, I don't like lumberjack matches for the simple fact you have faces and you have heel teams on the outside, and it always devolves into everybody on the outside fighting and then the screwball finish inside because the ref was too busy with the inside, and this gives the heels the chance to turn around and steal the victory from the faces while the baby faces get to still look good. We get a replay of last week where Scott Dawson tagged himself in, and his brother in the Revival actually ended up getting pinned, and the referee had counted 1, 2, 3. Screwball finishes. This match goes on probably a little bit longer than it needed to, in the sense that it didn't seem to be going anywhere interesting. Even the Lumberjacks didn't really get involved. Even when both teams kept coming out of the ring, it's like, guys, you do know the script for this, right? You do know how this is supposed to work. All you face teams are supposed to roll the baby faces back in the ring and kind of rough up the heels a little bit, and vice versa. But that didn't really happen here. Scott Dawson goes for a small package. Bobby Roode shifts Chad Gable to the dominant pinning position, but Scott Dawson hooks his foot under the bottom rope, like full on had his foot cupped around the bottom rope, and still gets counted for the pinfall loss. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode retain. I guess because here's the thing. If you want to rebuild a tag team division, you have to first build up the other teams. And personally, the team I think that should be facing Bobby Roode and Chad Gable would, if you're not going with the Authors of Pain, which is fine, you don't have to, go with the Ascension. The Ascension have been screwed. The Ascension have been forgotten for so long. Relegated to B storylines where they're going to be with Breezango and the Fashion Police and all of this. And I think they should be rewarded not only with prominence in the tag team division, but why not give them a tag team title reign? It doesn't have to be super long. But I want to see them holding the tag team championships. Anyway, this nonsense is going to continue. I'm certain of it. Next up, we get the NXT call-up video package for Lars Sullivan. We get one for basically everybody coming. EC3, Nikki Cross, Heavy Machinery get one, and not Mandy Rose, Lacey Evans. I don't want to know her. I don't. She seems rather odious. So, moving on. We get an Elias segment. Basically, he comes out, plays his guitar a bit. He's in the ring. He tells everybody gathered there that that this is his year, that he's going to win the Royal Rumble, main event WrestleMania, play a tune before the sold-out crowds. And then he starts ragging on Baron Corbin. This then brings Corbin out, who announces his entry into the Royal Rumble, and they have a match between the two. This isn't an extraordinarily long match, but it felt long to me. Like, this went this went on a bit. Not a terrible showing for the Drifter, but in the end, Baron Corbin turns it around, hits the end of days. I don't want to see him winning the Royal Rumble. It's fine. It is what it is. You just do what you got to do to keep the time moving. And next up, we actually got a random spot. Like, this wasn't... You see some industrial piping and some walls, and you're like, okay, well, where are you, Dean? And he's doing a promo backstage, basically saying that if Ambrose... He hates six-man tags because the only person he can trust is himself. He is the moral compass for WWE. And that if Seth Rollins is allowed to win the championship, it's game over for everybody. He's preaching this like it's the end of the world. Fine. I get it. We get the quote-unquote face-to-face interview with Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar after the commercial. Strowman struts out to the ring. He's not wearing a sling. He's not wearing any kinesio tape. He's not wearing any kind of bandaging on the elbow. So I gotta believe that he has been at least cleared to appear, and that his recovery is going well enough that this match at the Royal Rumble is going to go forward. Paul Heyman appears on the Titantron with Brock Lesnar, basically saying, listen, we're not coming out. We don't have to. You need to learn manners. Card subject to change, which means that if Brock Lesnar were to come down and get in the ring with you, he wouldn't have an opponent. He'd have another victim laying down, staring at the lights with his back on the canvas. Strowman is staring directly into the camera the whole time. Like, the whole time. And it was very creepy to me, because you've got Strowman staring dead on, and Lesnar's not even really looking at the camera. He's just kind of... while Heyman cuts the promo. Braun, there was rumor that the performers tonight were not given pre-scripted segments, that they were given bullet points. Okay, mention this. Okay, say this. But how you get from A to B is up to you. Fine. Perfect. Let these guys get, and I will admit, I will say it to you now. The promos that were cut tonight by no means were great, except for Paul Heyman, who I believe has had enough experience in this sort of area where it's not going to really impact him doing that. Same with Cena. They've basically given up caring because they know that they can't be replaced. They're fine with people coming out and cutting promos on them because they're just going to jab back. It's fine. Give the roster, these guys that have been for months, if not years, been put on the spot with pre-scripted promos, a little bit of a chance to work out of that rut, out of that habit. And I promise you, we're going to get some amazing promos out of some of these guys. Yeah, sure, some of our guys are not going to do very well. But I think the more recent from NXT that they've been called up, the better their chances of cutting a promo with the bullet points, because I think that's how they were doing it down in NXT. So the guys that are already doing it are going to come in, and it's just going to flow right out. With some of the other guys, like you got Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Finn Balor, No Way Jose even. These guys that have come from NXT and are on Raw now, give them a few months to get back into that habit of doing promos off the cuff, on their own, and it's going to be great. Guys like Braun Strowman, who have been there for years and have had to do pre-scripted promos, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I guarantee you we're going to see some amazing things out of every performer coming in the near future. I'm banking on it. Brock Lesnar is eventually called a coward by Braun Strowman, and this inspires him to finally go out to the ring despite Paul Heyman's protest. He takes a lap around the ring, walks back up the ramp. Braun Strowman says, "Hey, Lesnar or Brock, turn around, face me. At Royal Rumble, they're going to crown me the new Universal Champion." You don't need that. You definitely do not need that kind of promo, that kind of end. But moving on. Next up, we get Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox in the ring to lead Shanti. And Jinder cuts a pretty funny promo here. Basically calling out members of the audience, picking on them, even implying that one woman has a beard. Okay. This is 2019. Chicks might end up with a beard. If they identify as women, that's on them. Fine. But your promo was fine, Jinder. That's okay. But we're getting Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus Apollo Crews and Ember Moon. God, I feel bad for these two. Not so much Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox, because work with what you've got. You've been dealt the cards you've been dealt. Fine. Pardon me. Been a long day. But you've got Ember Moon, who ostensibly should be in the main event. She doesn't. There's not a woman on the roster that would conceivably work for her to be a tag team partner with in the upcoming tag team title, women's tag team title picture. The only one that I'm seeing currently is Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Tamina. There's no other real women to be tag teamed. So, moving on. Apollo Crews gets a bunch of offense before Alicia Fox makes the blind tag. Apollo Crews knocks Jinder over the top rope, does a suicide dive over the top, taking out both Jinder and the Singh brothers at the same time. The War Goddess completely brutalizes Alicia Fox, hitting the Eclipse and getting the pinfall victory. This match didn't even last 3 minutes. It was a squash match. I mean, do I like it? Not entirely. Do I hate it? Again, we got to see Ember Moon, so I'm okay with it. Back from commercial, we get the Moment of Bliss talk show with Ronda Rousey. First, Alexa puts on the promo for video promo for Ronda Rousey, who then comes out. She refuses the handshake. Jesus, the words that she then uses about after this point is basically just the best way you could ever put over another face. It's this woman lives and breathes the business. She's the Rocky Balboa. You want to talk about a Cinderella story? There it is, right there. I'm talking, of course, about Sasha Banks. And Banks is like, I thought you were talking about me. And then Nia Jax just comes out with the weirdest. I can't even properly do it justice. I will not even attempt it. But I highly recommend you go out and try and find this clip on YouTube after the show and listen to Nia Jax trying to fake like she's sick, like she's about to vomit. She does the worst dry heave in the history of the world, and it's hilarious. And she says, listen, you're talking about Sasha Banks and how you want to face her at Royal Rumble. Sasha Banks has got to get in line because I'm due a rematch. One, you were not the champion going into the match with Ronda Rousey. Number two, and this is the biggest point, if we're going into a new year and we're going into a new era where the McMahons are directly running everything, and they have absolutely straight up said, the rematch clause thing is dead. We're not doing it anymore. If you want a rematch against the champion, you have to prove it. You have to earn it. Seth Rollins, no automatic rematch. The next Intercontinental Championship match that Dean Ambrose had was actually against Apollo Crews, which is why that earlier mixed tag match makes no sense. If they wanted to push Apollo Crews as a legit singles competitor, you should have had him stay in the picture a bit longer. But fine, whatever. I'm not a booking agent. I don't write the things for WWE. I just sit here and talk about their bad decisions. Moving on, Sasha Banks comes out and thanks Ronda Rousey for all of the kind words and says that she will teach Ronda Rousey how to lose with grace and humility after she beats her at Royal Rumble. Nia Jax steps up, says, hey, listen, you've got a 300.5-pound Samoan woman ahead of you in line, so get in the line. She's like, bitch, there is no more line. You wanna challenge Ronda Rousey? Tell you what. You, me, right now, in that ring, winner faces Rousey. Nia first does the heel thing of, oh no, I'm not going to face you. I'm better than this. I don't have to face you. This is not officially sanctioned. I'm not going to do it. Oh my God. It appears that Stephanie McMahon has made this official, and I must go down to the ring and make this match. And compete in this match. Okay, fine. I will beat you. Again, this was actually not a bad match. Nia Jax hits this insane body drop. Like she carried Sasha Banks over her head, like military press carried her for a good while, and then dropped her onto a road case that was right nearby. Sasha Banks barely beats the 10 count, only to then suffer a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. This whole match then started to drag. The spots that they put on were pretty good spots, but it did drag on a bit. The setups were a little slow, but it's okay. We got a insane top rope hang up. Like Sasha is over Nia Jax's shoulders again, like she's gonna do a Samoan drop from the second rope, and basically just drops her on the top rope. Hangs her up. Banks ends up actually turning it around. There's various points where Tamina and Bayley get involved in the match because they've been at ringside the whole time. Sasha Banks hits this crazy Hurricane Rana. It came off a little botch because Nia's on the apron facing the ramp. Sasha Banks runs up, gets the legs on, flips down, and actually lands on the outside where Nia Jax just falls over onto the apron. She goes for the pinfall. This doesn't get her there. She turns it into the Banks statement and ends up getting the tap out win. So it will be Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey at Royal Rumble. Fine. I'm okay with this. Fine. Doesn't matter. Interesting note. Somehow, Sasha cut her elbow open. So, there you go. We're start of the Ambrose Rollins Falls Count Anywhere match. We actually get word that NXT TakeOver UK is gonna have. NXT TakeOver. NXT UK is gonna have a takeover in Blackpool. So, I gotta call up a few friends of mine, see how close Blackpool is to them. And B, I got me some UK to watch. Rollins doesn't even wait for Ambrose to get to the ring. No entry for Rollins. He just runs down the ramp and attacks Dean Ambrose. This fight barely gets into the ring to start, and then is instantly out. Into the back, through the crowd. There was a particularly nasty shot by Ambrose doing this wonderful back body drop on Rollins into some of the road cases. Whew. I mean, there was a pretty good stiff shot by Rollins right on the button. Just dead on the nose. It looks like a straight right, and it's like, wow. These guys must really trust each other. And here's the even better part. Like, they did it right, and Ambrose wasn't bleeding. So, A+ on Seth Rollins. This is a very back and forth match with mostly Ambrose running away and Rollins catching up to pound more offense, except for opportune moments where Ambrose would turn the tables briefly. It is not long after this, not long after they finally get back into the ring for like the second time in the match. Ambrose is hit with gets a super kick to the midsection and gets hit by the stomp. Rollins is inches away from the cover and is pulled out of the ring by Bobby Lashley, who just decimates Rollins, not only on the outside, but also inside the ring, hitting him with a spear. This then leads to Dean Ambrose crawling inch by inch to the cover and retaining the Intercontinental Championship. The show doesn't end there, though, because as Ambrose rolls out of the ring with the championship, Rush is ordered by Lashley to pull out a table and helps him set it up in the ring to put Rollins through. The last image we get is the almighty Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush standing over the broken table with Seth Rollins through it. I mean, again, like I said, on the one hand, fine, we got some new things. We got some little semblances of, hey, we're trying to do things different here. On the other hand, we didn't get quite enough. So I'm very interested to see what SmackDown does. They'll be going on live here in about an hour, so that'll be cool. And hopefully tomorrow night when we join you again, hopefully at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, I will have a heavy metal hippie on my side rather than just her wonderful visage keeping me in line. Again, I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share all those wonderful things down below. Hit the bell for the notifications. Follow the show on Twitter at InMoshPit. Yours truly is at Rob's Random ROMs. My good friend is at Heavy Metal Hippie. And we will see you all tomorrow night for the SmackDown Live review. Later.